Welcome to the Winning Edge Investments Podcast. Winning Edge Investments provides industry-leading horse racing and sports betting tips, ratings and education, enabling you to invest intelligently and treat your betting like a business. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com to learn more about how you can start to supercharge your betting bank immediately. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.
Today on the Winning Edge podcast, we're joined by Sydney trainer Mark Newnham. G'day, Mark. How are you?
Very good, Brad.
That's the way. Thanks for joining us. A couple of days out from some big Group 1s. How are the nerves?
No, pretty good, actually. I don't get worried when things go wrong, so we're going into the weekend with touch wood, everything fine with all the horses.
Yep. Firstly, tell us about your career. How did you get into the game? Where did you get your start in racing?
My grandfather was a jockey and a trainer, but he'd retired by the time I started. But Dad was also a editor at the Sydney Morning Herald, and he was the sporting editor when I was probably 8 and 10, and so he was always going to the races every Saturday, so I'd tag along with him. And as soon as I was old enough to leave school, I started at Randwick with Bobby Thompson.
Pretty good start in life. So you went overseas as well, did you?
Yeah, I did a stint overseas working in England, in Newmarket and in Ireland at the Curragh, and I started riding then when I returned.
And then you built up a relationship with Gay Waterhouse at Tulloch Lodge there?
Yeah, that was about 1996. I think I had my first ride for Gay, and she hadn't long been training. She'd probably been training 3 or 4 years at that stage, and that lasted about 20 years. I'd say the only time in between then was I did a couple of stints riding in Asia, and actually built up some good contacts that are owners with me now.
That's a pretty good grounding to become a trainer in your own right, 20 years with Gay.
Yeah, look, she's a great mentor on and off the track, and I got an opportunity to be involved with a lot of nice horses, and look, that certainly helps today when you're looking at history. You're looking at history with horses and the best way to go about getting to a major race.
What were the main things you learnt from working for Gay? Work ethic or different styles of training?
Work ethic, certainly. She expected a lot of you, but nothing more than she did herself. Really good feeder of horses, very similar to her father and Bart Cummings, who I also did a stint with. And look, I think that's a really important part of your training routine, because they're athletes. You've got to feed them, according to how you work them. So I'm quite a heavy feeder, but with that they do plenty of work and they go to the races fit.
You must have got on the back of some nice horses working for Gay and Bart. What were some of the highlights for you?
Oh, look, Piero was certainly the best horse I sat on during that time with Gay, and I'd just finished my riding career when he won the Breeders' Plate. I'd finished probably only a month or two earlier than that, and then I actually got to ride him in a couple of barrier trials at the start of his last preparation. Nash was out injured, and I rode the horse nearly every day in work, and I rode him in those couple of trials leading into the Hobartville Stakes.
What stood out for him as a racehorse? Just sheer talent?
Just his attitude. Apart from his natural ability, he had great attitude towards his work, great will to win. Something that you can't really see from the outside. He was a very relaxed animal, just saved all his energy for race day. He's the sort of horse that you could work with, probably the worst horse in the stable and beat it ahead, and you'd be working with the best horse in the stable and still beat it ahead. He was he knew how good he was, and he knew how to win.
And you also rode Fiorente as well, the Melbourne Cup winner. Bit of a different horse?
Yeah, he was being a European horse. He great lungs. That's something that they differ from in our horses is their lung capacity, and that's just generations of breeding that style of horse. Another horse, really good attitude, but for a staying horse, he had a good turn of foot, and that's what helped him in races here. And I'm sure if he'd have remained sound, or if Gay had set him for a Doncaster, he would have been easily good enough to win a Doncaster.
And you've been training on your own right for 5 years now?
This is my fifth season, yeah.
Pretty competitive market in Sydney. How do you stand out from the crowd?
Oh, look, I think for me, I play to my strengths, which is knowing my horses really well, and it's one of the reasons I don't want to get too big. I've got 70 horses in work all the time, and that's a good number for me. I wouldn't want to get past, really past that. It allows me to spend time and observe the horses. I still ride work, so I'm able to jump on a few. And once you start to get to numbers of 100 plus, it takes away your time to do that. And I'm not sure that would suit me. The part I enjoy about training is the part of being able to be part of the horse. I can be there mixing feeds or riding one or taking one for a swim. But once you get to be a big operation, your time's taken up. Sitting in front of the computer, sitting in the office.
Yep. So very hands-on approach.
Yeah, and look, it suits my style of training, but it suits me personally because you've got to have some job satisfaction, and as I said, the part I enjoy is being able to spend time with the horses.
And it's obviously reflecting in the results as well. You've consistently got that 20% strike rate. I think you're coming 20% win strike rate, nearly 50% strike rate place, 74 winners from 358 starters this season. So you're doing pretty well.
Oh, look, it's going very well. Look, I've been given good opportunities, but that was built up from a base of 3 horses the first day I started. So, it wasn't as if I've gone into a partnership or started with a full stable. And look, I spend a lot of time placing the horses. So, that's generally what I do early on a Sunday morning when it's nice and quiet. It allows me time to go through each horse, where I'm going to put them. And, it's a nice time of day because it's quiet. The phone doesn't ring. So I still get up at, 3-4 o'clock on a Sunday morning and spend the next few hours just, checking in at the stables, but then programming the horses.
And you've placed your 5 runners on Saturday pretty well. You've got 5 runners on the second day of the championships at Randwick, 4 in Group 1s. You must be pretty happy to have such a great representation on a big day.
Oh, absolutely. Look at, 2 runners in the Oaks with realistic chances. I'm really pleased with Spirit Ridge going into the Sydney Cup. That's been his goal for the autumn, and he's got there in good shape with 51.5 on his back and a good draw. Graceful Glamour's been a good mare for the stable a whole career, but her performances depend on the weather. But she gets into the Queen of the Turf in really good shape off the back of a good run.
Might delve a bit deeper into a couple of your runners. We'll start with a very fine red in the Percy Sykes. One on debut at Hawkesbury. It was $31. Was it that expected, or?
Yeah, I gave her a really good chance. Actually, her form in the trials had been good, but probably not up to her work. And she was probably just lacking a set of blinkers. She just showed a little bit of reluctance in the trials between horses, and but was able to convert on race day. So, look, beating older horses in a maiden's not always easy for a 2-year-old to do, and she did it, and she did it well. She missed a run when the races had been washed out in the last few weeks, but has since trialled well. It's a strong race, but look, when you've got a 2-year-old filly that's already won a race, they're very hard to place. So, look, she's there as a chance, but being a filly, even if she manages to slip into 3rd place, it's a fair update on her pedigree.
And she sat handy on debut, and she's got barrier 5 again. She'll sit pretty handy again, do you think?
Yeah, she's got good gate speed, so I'd imagine she'll put herself in the first couple.
And Graceful Glamour, tell us a bit. Well, firstly, tell us about the All-Star Mile. It must have been exciting to have a runner down there in Victoria.
Well, it was, but
except for the rain.
I think it was early in the day when it was a good 3. But by the time her race came around, it was mission impossible for her. But look, the one thing about sending her around on a track like that is that she takes no harm from it. She just doesn't go at all. So she bounced out of the race well and performed up to what she can do at Rose Hill. And she's probably come on a little bit since then. So mile at Randwick, where she's been successful in a Villiers carrying 56, she looks to get control of the race, which is what she likes to do. And, if the rain stays away, she's a realistic chance.
You got James McDonald on for Josh Parr there as well?
James was committed elsewhere. Josh has ridden plenty of work. He's part of the stable, Josh, so Rachel had already committed to Nimalee, so he gets his chance on her now, Josh.
And Spirit Ridge in the Sydney Cup, he's third up to 3,200 metres. Is he going to be fit enough?
Oh, he's surely fit enough. Look, he's a good clean-winded stayer. He probably just needed the run the other day and at Weight for Age, but drops down to 51.5, good draw. He's got the profile of a Sydney Cup winner in the last few years. Generally, horses down in the weights from good draws that are able to take up a position in running generally run very well. His work on Monday was great. Hardly blew, so he's ready to go.
He'll run the 2 miles?
Yeah, I think he will. Look, he's judging his work and his recovery rate after galloping. I think he'll have no
And the blinkers come off? Is that always a plan, or...?
Yeah, look, just to help him conserve energy. He's run a bit fresh out of the barrier at his last 2. And, look, with a couple of designated leaders in the race in barrier 2, he'll get cover straight away. But he actually begins really quickly. And it's been to his detriment these last 2 runs because there hasn't been anyone to take up the lead. But from a good gate, he can just sit on him quietly and wait for the wave of horses out wide to come across and give him a bit of cover.
And you've got Harmony Rose and Bargain in the Australian Oaks. Is that the race you're most looking forward to out of the day?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Any Group 1 race where you've got the favourite, you're looking forward to it. Look, she was probably unlucky to be beaten the other day. She just went too keen in front. And that was probably a combination of things, including the fact that she hadn't run for a month. With the races being put back a week, it just stretched out the gap between the Randwick Guineas and the Binary to a month. I did give her a trial in between, but it probably just made her run out a little bit too quickly in the first part of the race, and it told late. So now we're coming off the 2-week break. She's done well. I've been pleased with her work. She looks fantastic. She looks to posse up in the first 2 or 3, and it doesn't look a race of a lot of pressure early. So it'll be interesting. But look, she looks the main hope from the start.
Do you think could she lead again, or?
Yeah, she probably will. And that's not necessarily a tactic we go out with that in mind. But looking at the race, it looks a race of not much pressure early, and she was just a bit keen in front the other day, being first time in front and first time for a month. So I wouldn't have any hesitation in the leading.
And she'll run the 2,400, do you think?
Oh, look, she's still got to prove that. Pedigree says on a mother's side that she may be stretched, but she's a filly with a lovely big action. She looks like a filly that'll get over ground, and she's got a good lung capacity.
And what about Bargain? He was huge in the Adrian Knox last start.
Yeah, not surprising. She's always shown good promise, but is advantaged on soft ground. So, look, her chances will be greatly enhanced if we get any rain. But, look, the Adrian Knox has been a good lead-up in the last few years, and had Quintessa come out of the Adrian Knox last year and finish 3rd. And the first 3 place getters out of the race last year ran 1, 2, 3. So, look, she's drawn 1, which means she won't have to get right back as she did the other day when she drew the outside barrier. So, look, with a nice soft run in behind the pace, she would run on well, but she would be greatly enhanced if we did get some rain.
And you've got quite a few lightly raced, talented horses which are in the spelling paddock. Just get a quick comment on a few of those. What about Quackerjack?
Quackerjack will be back for another tilt at the Gong and the Villiers. He had a knee chip removed there early summer, so he's convalescing, but he'll be back.
Every Rose, she won that Group 2 first up, but she's having a spell after those 4 runs.
Yeah, she's headed to the paddock. Look, she really peaked first and second up. Second up probably just took a bit out of her. 1400 stretches her at Group 1 level, so it probably just flattened her a little bit. So she'll come back with probably a lighter spring and maybe even a shot at one of the Magic Millions races.
Big Parade?
Big Parade, he's in pre-training at the moment, due back in the stable in the next 2 weeks.
Skymax?
Skymax, he's in some light work just out of the stable at the moment. He doesn't handle wet ground at all, so he'll probably have a very quiet time in the next few months and probably aim up at some of the earlier spring stages.
What about Splintex? Were you a bit disappointed with him in the Challenge and the Galaxy, or? Yeah,
look, the Galaxy probably not. He drew 14, so 1,100 metres at Rose Hill's just awful. I probably regret running him now, but he'll go to the Hallmark Stakes Saturday week, back to Group 3 level, 1,200 Randwick. That looks a more achievable target for him.
And what about Miravail? She won the Group 3 Kembla.
Yeah, she's likely to go to stud now as a Group 3 winner. It's interesting. Being a trainer, we want to race. Arrowfield being breeders, they want to breed. So, John Massara was, onto me that, look, the job's been done. She's a Group 3 winner. She's well related. We want to breed from her now. So she'll more than likely just go back to Arrowfield and become...
Were you hoping to get a Group 1 or Group 2 out of her, or...?
Oh, look, I could see John's point that she's won a Group 3 and probably didn't look like a Group 1 winner from here. And that would be the only thing that could enhance her value. And, look, she is a valuable mare. The family's flying at the moment. She's a half-sister Yankee Rose. You've also got Isotope in the family. So I see his point.
What about the Irishman? He's a pretty talented 3-year-old colt.
Yeah, the Irishman's getting vetted this afternoon to head to Hong Kong, so it's unlikely we'll see him.
All right, so he's going to Hong Kong, and you've got Shadow Hero coming back from there.
Yeah, and that was that was not a bad trade-off. The Irishman came here for the same owner, under the proviso that he was only here to have one preparation and try and get his rating up, and we managed to do that. So Shadow Hero hasn't fired over there. So he's on his way back. Look, when I set a program for him, will be after I've seen him. But look, he might even need to have a little bit of a rest before he comes back in.
Must be pretty rapt to get him back, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's a high class horse, and they're hard to replace. I mean, he was our last Group 1 winner, so it goes to show that. They're hard to come by, those horses. So if we can get him back to his true form, there won't be any shortage of races for him.
Fantastic. Good news. All the best this weekend, Mark, and keep doing a great job in the training ranks. Keep that strike rate up.
Great. Thanks very much, Brad.
At Winning Edge Investments, our team of highly skilled expert analysts and full-time professional punters review the data, crunch the figures, assess the best betting opportunities, and deliver them to your phone via our app and your email inbox in real time so you profit. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com, look at our membership options, make your choice, and enter the promo code PODCAST to receive a special 25% discount on your first membership just for listening. That's PODCAST in capital letters for a 25% ongoing discount on your first membership. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.